devotional service unless one accepts Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One must follow strictly the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu given in the Shikshastika. Trinadapi sunichena dororiva seshnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and one should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. One who follows this direction, being freed from the 10 kinds of offenses, becomes successful in Krishna consciousness and ultimately reaches the platform of loving service to the personality of Godhead. Om Gyan Ativanantam Jana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mayam Dadati Swapadati Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is a very nice purport by Srila Prabhupada and a very important verse, especially when we give the holy name of Krishna to the public, in general. Just like Ramanujacharya, his guru, Mahapurna, sent him to another guru, Goshyapurna, to learn the secret, the intimate secret of chanting the holy name. So Ramanuja went. He asked him, please teach me. No. He asked 18 times, please teach me this chanting, the benefit. No. And finally, after 18 times, he said, okay, now he's passed the test. He's very determined. He wants to do it. Because devotion to Krishna is voluntary and it has to come from love. Therefore, you have to really want it. You can't, it's not something you attain by a mechanical process. Just like even meditation that we do, our meditation is just to become absorbed in Krishna. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhavamad Bhakta Mam Yaji Mam Namaskuru. First of all, always think of me. Even in the most difficult circumstance, Krishna himself says, Mamanushmara Yudhyacha. First remember me, and then whatever else you have to do. Even in the case of Arjuna, he had to fight. He said, first you remember me, then you fight. Otherwise, fighting is necessary, just like we have a police force. Yesterday we had so many policemen, right, in the parade. And if they weren't there, maybe nothing would happen, but maybe some people would be very drunk or something and cause some disturbance. So fighting is there in this world. As long as there's envy, as long as there's greed, as long as there's anger, as long as there's frustration, then there'll always be some difficulty in this world. So Ramanuja, he passed the test. And the Gosha Purna told him that I want you to chant this mantra, but you cannot reveal it to anyone else. This is the most sacred of all mantras, and it cannot be revealed to unqualified people. So, he said, yes, anything, Master, whatever you say. He said, so, Om Namo Narayana. That was the mantra. But do not repeat it to anyone. Yes. So, he began to meditate. He asked his Gosha Purna, what is the effect of the mantra? Oh, one achieves the deepest degree of love of God. Okay. So he thought about it. He thought about everything. Then he went to the town square and he got up on a raised platform. He said, is there anyone that wants love of God? Is there anyone that wants to forget about all the difficulties of this world? So everybody came. Yeah, we all want that. So then, he said, everyone chant Om Namo Narayana. And so everybody chanted. Then he went back to his guru. And when he came in, the guru said, you have the audacity to disobey me, and then you come and show your face again to me. What? And he said, yes, I know. I know that actually for disobeying you, I will go to hell. But if I can go to hell and everyone else can become blessed by the holy name, then I'm willing to do it. No problem. And so Gosha Purna was choked up. He said, now you have become my guru. You have taught me something. You have taught me the level of compassion that you have. And so therefore, yes, you have uncovered the secret. The secret is that everyone must chant this mantra. But we must make sure that they understand what is the qualification. So here, in the purport of what we read so far, Srila Prabhupada says that, quotes the third verse of Shikshastikam, which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says we should wear like a garland around our neck. First of all, be very humble. Humility is sometimes a difficult thing to understand, but the basic element of humility is to do what Krishna says. Because humility means I will give up my ego, my egotistical tendencies, and I will follow the will of the Supreme. And so the two first principles of surrender, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anukulyasya sankalpa. First of all, one must be willing to do whatever is favorable for pleasing Krishna, even if it's not what I like to do, especially not my normal habit. Because we develop many bad habits in this world. And the other principle is patikulyasya varjanam. Whatever the Lord doesn't like, I will give it up, even if I like it. And so these two principles will actually give us humility. We can follow these two principles. Because it means I will follow the desire of Krishna. And one may think, well, that seems like an imposition. I want to be free. I do what I feel is best. And then would anyone teach their children like that? Just whatever you want to do. That's okay. Whatever you want to do. I want to eat chocolate and ice cream, and that's nothing else for the rest of my life. Yeah, go ahead. No problem. No. There must be some discipline. So the same in spiritual life. We're like in this stage of life where we become addicted to, just like in India, where I just came from, there's a big, because now some of the young people have started using drugs, which was not very common previously. Of course, now it's no problem. Here it's like normal, but there it was very unusual. So there's a big anti-drug campaign. So they asked me to give a lecture. It was about 20,000 students present. And so I said, I shocked everyone. I said, there's no problem with addiction. No, there's no problem. What? It's supposed to be an anti-addiction. I said, the problem is what you are addicted to. Krishna says, Maya saktamana partha yogam yunjan marashraya. Krishna says that become attached to me, otherwise become addicted to me. Because we, as dependent living entities, jivatma means a dependent living entity. We're dependent on so many things. We're dependent on a certain temperature range. You know? Like below 0 and above 100, it's like difficult. And you go like more below 0 or a little more above 100. Just like the other day, I was talking to someone in Saudi Arabia, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning. He said, yeah, it's 51, which means it's centigrade about 132 degrees, you know, at 8 in the morning. And so it's a little difficult to tolerate. So the point is we're depending on sunshine, we're dependent on water, we're dependent on so many things just to maintain the body, but to speak of our actual existence. You know? So because the living entity is dependent, then it's important to know what is the best thing for us. Just like you go anywhere online, weight control, this, that, if you need this, if you want to accomplish this, no, one advertisement after another, just take this, just do this, no. And which means, no, that generally speaking, even from a material point of view, we don't know what's best for us. Even for our body, we don't. Just like a cow or a horse or a dog, they just smell and they know this is good for me, this is not good for me. But we don't have that ability because the human being has intelligence, and that intelligence is meant not to try to outdo God, which is basically what we try to use our intelligence for generally. Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita, yayedam daryate jagat, that we're trying to exploit nature, but nature is more intelligent than we are, and she's exploiting us because we're trying to exploit her. But if we try to serve nature, just like there's ecology and so many movements nowadays to try to get some balance, but we're always we'll continue to exploit, but we'll come up with a new technology that will allow us to exploit in a nice way. Just like if you buy, like I see these advertisements in health food stores, organic beef, you know. So we killed the animal very nicely, you know. We fed it very nicely, we killed it very quickly, and no problem. Now you have your nice organic beef that you can enjoy and exploit and kill others, but in a nice way. You know. So this is what technology offers us. Yes, we will continue to exploit nature. Nature is telling us, don't exploit me. Therefore, there are hurricanes, earthquakes, and all these things, and these sinkholes, which are coming from taking so much petroleum out of the ground, and there'll be more and more. Now they fill them up with ocean water, but that may not always do the job, or they fill it up with something else. So anyway, the point is that here we're giving the holy name to everyone, and we want everyone to chant, but then they must learn what is the best way to chant. Just like it says there's no requirements. Lord Chaitanya in the previous verse, he says that there's no rules and so why is he all of a sudden saying now there's rules? The rules are in the quality of our chanting, not when we chant or how we chant, but the quality. And the quality means the state of consciousness. And so this text, which we just read, says the state of consciousness. Humility, and after you have some humility, then tolerance. We're forced to tolerate so many things. Forced to. But forced tolerance, just like sometimes, especially in other countries, but here we see the homeless people, and some people are hopelessly homeless, meaning that they're down and out and they're homeless, but they have bad habits. But they may seem to be very renounced, but that renunciation is forced. It's not just like, someone may be very poor and they're very renounced, they're not attached to wealth. No, it's not that they're not attached to it, they don't have it. But so the point I want to make is that tolerance has to be there. Even for love to exist, there must be tolerance, especially in this world. And the degree of love that we can achieve, there has to be a lot of tolerance. But also to achieve pure love, there must be tolerance. And what do we have to tolerate? The effects of the habits that we have acquired in this world, which is not only in this lifetime, but many lifetimes. We've acquired so many bad habits, and that keeps us. That type of addiction we have to give up, and take up the addiction to Krishna. So then Srila Prabhupada, so this is then respecting everyone, every living entity. There was one devotee of Lord Chaitanya, his servant, Govinda. So Govinda every day would come to give massage to Lord Chaitanya after he would finish his meal. One day he came, and the Lord was right in front of the doorway. So according to the Vedas, you should never step over anyone because they have the Lord residing in their heart, and therefore it's considered offensive to step over them. So he's thinking, what do I do? So he crossed over and he started massaging. And Lord Chaitanya woke up, and Govinda was sitting there. He said, Govinda, have you eaten? Have you had your meal? No. Why? Because I would have to cross over you in order to go and eat. And he said, but how did you get in? I crossed over you. But that was to do service. I'm willing to accept the offense of whatever the reaction is. But just for my eating pleasure, I was not willing to accept it. So this is consciousness. Consciousness means to respect. Higher consciousness means we respect everything and respect everyone and everything as property of the Lord. Krishna says, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Everything belongs to me. So therefore, if we respect Krishna, just like if we have a best friend, we respect their property and their desires and their wishes. So Krishna says, I'm the best friend of everyone, because no matter what you do, I'm always there in your heart. No matter what you do. So therefore, I'm your best friend. So therefore, for our best friend, we must respect what he has. And then, amanina, manadena, we respect everyone, and amanina, we don't look for any respect for ourselves. Rather, we want to be in the position of Krishna's servant. One who is giving, not one who is taking. Even the Christian Christ said that better to give than receive. This is the principle of love. Receive means exploitation. I want to get something from you. But the consciousness of the servant is I want to give. And a perfect servant, I want to give everything. So Srila Prabhupada continues. One must come to the understanding that the holy name of the Lord and the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself are identical. One cannot reach this conclusion unless one is offenseless in chanting the holy name. Now that may seem difficult to understand in the sense that it's easy to understand. Abhinatvam namanami, there's no difference between Krishna and his name. Yeah, I can understand that. But to understand something means you have to realize it. It means when I chant, if I understand there's no difference, I really understand it in my heart, then when I chant Krishna's name, Krishna will be present. And just like here we see the deity, we bow to the deity. But if Krishna himself just appeared here, I mean, even if the mayor of San Antonio comes, we become, let's receive the mayor, let's repair something nice. Even if our friend comes over, let me make something nice, some nice cookies or something, and have a nice atmosphere. What to speak of the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes, then what more are we willing to do? But he comes in the form of his holy name. So when we chant, we should feel that presence. And that means that we've really understood it, not just theoretically. Theoretically, we can understand so many things. But that only takes us to the intellect, platform of the intellect. On the platform of the soul, we have to understand, here is Krishna. So, by our material calculation, we see a difference between the name and the substance. But in the spiritual world, absolute is always absolute. The name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the absolute are as good as the absolute himself. Then one is understood to be an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead if he considers himself an eternal servant of the holy name, and in this spirit distributes the holy name to the world. So here Srila Prabhupada gives us a practical way to understand that if you really understand how great this holy name of Krishna is, then you must want to give it to everyone if you understand who they are. So there's a lot of understanding to do. Understand that here is Krishna in the form of his holy name, and understand that everyone that I see is of the same spiritual quality, and therefore they must have this holy name. This is the essential thing that they're missing. And not only have it like casually, but I must make the effort, just like we have a temple here, a center, which requires a lot of hard work to maintain. And the purpose is so people can come and deepen their understanding, deepen their consciousness, come to a higher plane of spiritual existence. Not even going beyond my own personal pleasure, my own personal desires, to come to the point of satisfying the universal desire. We all have desires. Srila Prabhupada gave the example, just like if you throw a stone in water and you throw another stone in another place, the waves come and cancel each other out. But if you throw all the stones in exactly the same place, the waves reinforce one another. So if we have a common denominator, if we have a common cause, which is Krishna, and we understand this is the goal for everyone, then everything becomes harmonious. Just like yesterday with the ladies, the fans. Just have to work a little bit on the harmony, but it looked very good, especially in the camera part. That was really got it together there. But after you get tired after a while, then everybody kind of goes into their own system. Anyway, that's just a side comment. So here Srila Prabhupada says that a series of understanding. Understand the holy name is Krishna. Understand that everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. All spirit souls, they all need this. So if we can understand these things, our consciousness will be raised higher and higher and higher. So just to complete this thought, one who chants in that spirit without offenses is considered is certainly elevated to the platform of understanding that the holy name and the personality of Godhead are identical. To associate with the holy name and chant the holy name is to associate with the personality of Godhead directly. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said, clearly said, Sevan Mukhi hi jiva do swayami vatspura yada. The holy name becomes manifest when one engages in the service of the holy name. This service in a submissive attitude begins with one's tongue. Sevan Mukhi hi jiva do. One must engage his tongue in the service of the holy name. So there's two things mentioned in that particular verse that we just quoted, originally from Padma Purana. One is we chant the holy name of Krishna, and the other one, which we're about to do, is we take Krishna Prasad. This way, because the tongue is the organ in our body that can experience pleasure all of the time. It's always ready to experience pleasure. And we do that every day. We eat 1, 2, 3 times a day or more, depending on one's habits. And so that, and the tongue also, we like to talk. We like to communicate. And that communication, that talking, is a form of pleasure. So therefore, the spiritual life, spiritual understanding begins with the tongue. Chanting the holy name of Krishna, speaking about Krishna, and taking Krishna Prasad. Whatever comes in, whatever goes out, the tongue will experience. And even there's one text in the Srimad Bhagavatam which says that if you want to taste things properly, you have to learn to eat through the eyes and hear through the, speak through the eyes and see through the ears. Otherwise, we see things properly with knowledge. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Pashanti Jnana Chakshushaha. When one can actually see with the eyes of knowledge, not with these two eyes which are very defective. They can't see very well, they can't see very far, and what they see is generally subject to illusion. Especially the more distance there is, the more illusion there is. And so, the same with our consciousness. The more our consciousness is distanced from Krishna, the more we see things improperly. And the closer our consciousness comes to Krishna, therefore we call our movement Society for Krishna Consciousness. Because it means that you actually see things properly, see things intelligently. So, as far as chanting in Skanda Purana, it says that Madhura Madhura Metam Mangalam Mangalanam, that this holy name of Krishna is the sweetest of all sweet things and the most auspicious of all auspicious things. If we can just learn to chant Skrid Api Parigitam, if we can just learn to chant this holy name once with real affection, real determination, then it will give us so much. It will actually transport us to the spiritual path. But that's called chanting without offenses. So we just spoke about that. And of course the offenses are the major ones, not having complete faith in the holy name, not understanding that it's identical with Krishna, not using the holy name, just like in Christianity they say, do not pronounce the holy name in vain. So that means offensive chanting. In vain means there's no consciousness, just doing it mechanically. That's like not very beneficial. And here, this verse confirms that it's not beneficial. It will, on the contrary, it will have ill effects because you'll offend. Just like if, again, speaking about an important person, we're sitting together with a very important person, and then the person's saying something to us, and oh, just 1 second, I have to answer my cell phone. You're with the President of the United States or some big personality. Just a second. Sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm getting a call from my cousin. So would anyone do that? Probably not. So anyway, I wanted to read this today because it's all very nice. We go, we chant in the parade, we give the holy name. But in order to give it in such a way that it really takes effect in our own hearts and in the hearts of others, we have to learn to chant without these offenses, especially without in any way treating badly, speaking badly, or about anyone, and what to speak of those who dedicate themselves to giving this mercy, compassion of the holy name to others, and not to consider the demigods or the energies of the demigods, like money, success, health, etc., to be a personal accomplishment, but that these things are given to us for the service of Krishna. And if we use them properly, then they will manifest more and more. And obey the spiritual master, the parampara. Understand that the Vedic literature is giving the highest truth. And don't think that all of these stories in the Vedas are made up. Some sages got together and made up these stories so everyone could feel good, act properly. Nowadays it's very common to anything that goes beyond the realm of my ability to intellectually understand it, it must be mythology. We don't entertain the fact. Just like I see people are so attracted to all these outer space movies and everything, it's all like nothing within the grasp of our reality. But the more that people can project that to the highest degree, the more people like it. What is that called, those machines? Transformers. It's like people start, yeah, I like that one, or I like this one.
Star Wars.
Yeah, these things. So, and people love it because innately, internally, we have this desire for something greater. We want that, but we want to create it ourselves. Not that it should be revealed to us, but I want it to be according to how I've structured my understanding of everything. So anyway, this is a way that Krishna can enter into our heart. As he says, Pravishta Karnarandrena Swanam Bhavam Sarorduham. First, I go in through the ear. And if there's reception, meaning if there's the right consciousness, I penetrate to the heart. And there I open up the heart like a lotus flower, where I'm sitting and waiting for you to come. And so, this is what happens when we chant the holy name properly. But if we chant with offenses, the lotus flower remains closed. And it just goes in one ear and out the other. Because I'm thinking about something else while I'm chanting. So, that's the main thing, the cause of all the improper offenses against the holy name means improper consciousness while we're engaged in the most highly spiritual activity. So to avoid those things, just to be attentive. Srila Prabhupada said, here is Radha, here is Krishna, here is Vrindavan. When I chant this holy name, I should be transported to Vrindavan. And so it's a transcendental plane, highest transcendental plane. Then my chanting will blossom within the mind, within the heart, and overtake the intelligence, the mind, and the senses. So these are some thoughts on chanting, and to do it properly and to do it in such a way that in the least amount of time it will have the greatest effect. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for your attention.
I have a question. About balance, like balancing our lives. Sometimes if it's out of balance, our chanting suffers, or the more balanced we are, the more focused we are with our chanting. Can you speak about balancing our lives in such a way that we can get more spiritual benefit?
Yeah. Prabhupada speaks about that in the 6th chapter of Gita. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. That's the balance. That otherwise, even when you go to extremes of austerity, there is no extreme in one sense. Meaning that if one practices renunciation, that naturally comes from, like Srila Prabhupada says here in another part, in one of these purports, he says that if you're chanting properly, you will become detached from material nature. It's not that detachment means, no, I won't do it. No, it's not like that. It means that we become so attracted to Krishna that in the Bhagavatam it says, Bhaktir Parishanu Bhavam Viraktir Anyatra. 3 things happen when we chant or when we hear about Krishna. First, bhakti, spiritual nourishment takes place, and then para isha anubhava. Then we feel spiritual satisfaction within. We feel this knowledge is making me understand things as they are. And then virakti. Then naturally we become detached. And detachment is not something that we should fear, it's something natural. It's like a child is very attached to his toy. You try to take it away from a 6-year-old or a 6-month-old, 8-month-old, take away the toy, see what happens. But you give a better toy, and immediately. So this is what Krishna recommends. Paramjashvani Vartate. Get a higher taste. Just like I brought some devotees back from India, some Alfonso mangoes. And one, they ate those and said, oh, I can't eat any more of these mangoes here. They don't, they taste like water now. They're very, very nice mangoes from India. So when we get a higher taste, then we can give up something very easily. So that's the balance. The balance is that always trying to get this, a taste of higher consciousness. But at the same time, Srila Prabhupada said, it's a gradual process. So to understand that along with my theoretical understanding by reading, I have to realize that. And that's the balance. That as I go, I have to realize, I have to understand, and I have to let it really sink in. So that, but I should understand from Krishna what he says in Bhagavad Gita, that this is the goal. The goal is to have pure consciousness. The goal is come to the point where Krishna himself says the same thing that Lord Chaitanya says about respecting others. Sama sarvashu bhuteshu. I see all living entities equally. But seeing them equally means I think about them equally, I speak about them equally. No. But it means seeing on the spiritual platform, because we can't be equal on the material platform. We can't be equal. Not possible. Some people are stronger, some people are bigger, some people are more intelligent. That's something you can't adjust. But you can adjust your consciousness to, in spite of that, let me see the person within the body. So that's the balance. Anyone else have a question or comment? Oh, yeah.
What is the benefit of people that don't know anything about chanting, like at the festival? They just hear that.
Well, they get benefit. They get a lot of benefit. When it becomes less beneficial is when we know how we should chant, but we don't do it anyway. If you don't know, then Krishna will give you so much advantage. But once you know, just like a child, again, children are good examples. If a child, just like yesterday or the day before when I was in the airport in New York, one child ran right through the immigration line and the other side, and everybody's smiling. Now, if I did that, they would grab me with a gun and put it to my head. But because a child did it. So when people don't know the advantage of chanting or the process or anything, then they get immense benefit. But then when they understand the benefit, then they should improve the quality. Because I always compare Lord Chaitanya or Krishna's mercy like a credit card. For the credit card, you get the benefit, but then you have to pay later. So the chanting of people who don't understand, it's like they're getting a credit. And then later on, when the bill comes, otherwise, when you understand what is this chanting process, then to continue to advance, then you have to, make a little effort to understand things as they are. What else?
I want to ask a question about the money.
About?
Money. When you get money, when you sell online, there are some products that we want profit from them, and so I sell online. And recently, I started to. In fact, This is the first product that I'm selling. It's a toy, but it's a toy that is like a little monster, very, very popular. Every children want to have those, and not only the children, but also teenagers or even adult people, they want to have the whole collection of them because they come in different colors. And so I needed to start to do something, and then it became it's a great business. I became surprised how people is very interested in those things. And then I said, oh yes, I want to sell these toys. But I started to think that if I am promoting this kind of things, would this be a bad result for me? Because I'm not selling Prasad or any other good things for the people.
Yeah. So, one time Srila Prabhupada met one wealthy man in India. He had a wine business. Prabhupada said, it's not so good to sell wine. So when you make enough profit, then maybe you can invest in something else. So if you feel like of course, practically speaking, everything that everyone's doing is not so beneficial for the soul. And it's probably not the best thing. But the important thing is what we use, what we gain from it for. That's the important thing. Otherwise, and then if Krishna gives us enough, we can invest in something else that's more beneficial, where the thing we're selling itself is more beneficial. Like things in the mode of goodness, things that are used for cleanliness, things that are used for health, all that is considered mode of goodness. prasadam is beyond the mode of goodness. So the more we can, but the important thing is, if I make something, let me use it for Krishna. That's the important thing. And we live in a very contaminated atmosphere. Just like people invest in the stock market, you don't know. You may be investing in, egg production, or you don't know. You invest in the stock market, it's very, nebulous as to where all the funds go. But, we just do the best we can, and Krishna will give us the intelligence if we're really sincere that we want to. Not only do we want to use what we make from it, but what we give, what we make the money from, that it be more beneficial. And if that's really our desire, Krishna will give us the intelligence to do it. We just have to have that determination.
Because what I like to sell, I make soaps. I learned to make soaps, and I want to do that.
Okay.
But for now, I don't have the...
Well, then make enough money and then do that.
Okay, then I will continue to sell those
Yes,
little
until you
roses.
make enough and then save, and have your desire that I want to do something more beneficial. It will happen.
I don't like to give that to people.
Everybody is doing something.
You can sell the little angels.
Yeah? Angels
So
are
they
better
want
than...
they want this thing, and they're selling like crazy. Every day,
Hotcakes.
every day.
Follow-up question on that, even if it's not in the mode of goodness, wouldn't there be a difference between selling toys and selling wine or meat?
Everything, that last part.
Yeah, if it's not in the mode of goodness, wouldn't there still be a difference between selling toys than selling wine or meat?
No, it's not that much. We should try to avoid selling things that are actually sinful. Like, something that's involved in killing animals, or something that's involved in torture, or try to avoid that. Or something that's involved in breaking our principles. Like if we're selling wine or beer, or,
Or leather,
huh?
leather seats.
Yeah, so many things. So the more we can do, but sometimes it's not possible. Just like I know one devotee inherited a grocery store from his parents. And the grocery store, they sell everything, and so I just told him the same thing, just try to make enough profit off of it, or sell it and invest it in something else. But the important thing is if we're not selling something, not selling meat or things that are, very much dairy destructive, then whatever we do, if it bothers us that we're selling it, then we can try to sell something better, or do something better. And sometimes our karma, our destiny, pushes us to do something that we may not like to do, or it may not be the best, but we may not be able to do much more at that particular point in time. Yes.
Can you clarify, like, if you're making money on things that you don't want to sell, like alcohol or coffee, things like that? So if you're profiting from all those things, alcohol for example, then you said then invest in something better, and can you clarify that?
The thing we should avoid is that profit should not increase our greed for things. It should decrease. If we use our profit for serving Krishna, then that will decrease the fever. As Queen Kunti called it, the fever. Janmaishvara Shuta Shivir Edamana Manatpuma. He said, 4 things increase the fever of material existence. Good reputation, meaning I come from a very wonderful family, very wonderful background, I'm very proud of it. a lot wealth, great intelligence, or personal beauty or wonderful qualities that one may have. All these things can be used in Krishna service, but they also have a tendency to bewilder us. So she says if we're not careful, it increases the fever of material existence, which means greed. Our whole modern, practically worldwide conception is based on greed. Everywhere you see, buy this, get this, you must have this. If you buy this today, within the next 12 hours, you'll get a special extra gift. Have you seen those advertisements? If you're within the next 2 hours, they start a little clock going on the internet. For the next 18 minutes, if you order this within the next 18 minutes, but then if you order the same thing 3 months later, you'll get the same little clock. This time only. And 3 years later, same thing, this time only. So, the important thing is to try to use everything for Krishna. Just like whatever we use for maintaining our home, our family, we should try to think that let these profits, this money, be used so that my family can be Krishna conscious. But not so it increases my greed. That's the important thing.
So, let's say you are having a gas station business and you make a profit from selling cigarettes.
From selling cigarette?
Gas station business.
Well, better not to, but if you find yourself in that situation where that's the only means or sustenance that I have at this point in time, then we use the profits for Krishna. And we try to find something better. That's all. Sometimes people are forced to do things that they don't want to do. They have to survive. They have to, just like some people have told me I would never steal. And I say, well, I'm not so sure about that. If you had 4 children that depend on you and you have no money and everything's going to get, you might have to steal to maintain your children. So don't make any absolute statements until you're in a very difficult circumstance where you have that kind of test. Just like Ranti Dev. There was a king, Ranti Dev. He did a long fast, very long fast. And just when he was getting ready to break the fast, a Brahmin came and said, my dear sir, my dear king, I require something to eat. So he gave half of what he had. And then he was just getting ready again to break his fast. And a poor man came and said, my dear king, I have nothing to eat. So he gave half of what he had. And then another man came with some dogs, and he said, my dogs are hungry. And he gave the rest to that person. And then another person came and said, even, very low character, low birth person, he said, I'm very thirsty. He only had a little water left, so he gave the water. He said, if I die, but I must serve others first. And then all of those personalities revealed themselves to be great celestial personalities who had come to test him, to test his detachment. And so, but we're not all on the platform of Ranti Dev. We may not be able to do that so easily. And this age, Kali Yuga, very difficult that anything is pure. Even one time, Srila Prabhupada, they came to him with milk, and they said, Prabhupada, this milk says it has vitamin D, and vitamin D may be coming from the bones of animals. And Prabhupada said, well, what can you do? It's Kali Yuga. Do the best you can. Same thing is said about white sugar, that there was some people were using some ground up bones of animals put in the white sugar, which is a good enough reason why not to use white sugar. But anyway, so Kali Yuga is very difficult that everything be just pure and perfect, like you said, and goodness. It would be very nice And the more that we can incline ourselves that way, because Krishna recommends it in Bhagavad Gita. He says, if you can operate from the platform of the mode of goodness, it's easier to come to the platform of bhakti. Not as it's required, but it's easier. Okay. Well, thank you all very much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki jai. Shri Gaurindai ki jai. Hare Krishna.
We have a little announcement. Thank you so much. Guru Prasad Swami will be leaving tomorrow morning. And when will we see you back in San Antonio? It's gonna be some time. Probably some time. But we have good news. Tomorrow I'm pulling the permits so we can build our temple in the back. And it's taking some time, but hopefully it's a good start. Hopefully in the next 2.5, 3 months, we'll have a little facility back here that'll be dedicated towards what we're doing. And yeah, we have the little apartments, so we'll do little retreats and continue doing what we're doing. Thank you again, Guru Maharaj, for joining our parade last night. It was a late night. And thank you everybody for participating. It was super intense, but I felt satisfied. We came out on the news. If you haven't seen the news clip, Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra came out on the news, and the devotees came out on the news for about 1.5 minutes. They were really, really giving us a lot of appreciation.
And I want to thank Lana for sponsoring almost all the decorations on the
Yes.
float. It was such an amazing help. We couldn't have done it without her and everyone else that really, really helped put it all together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Also, it's Nardi's birthday tomorrow, what we're celebrating today.
Happy birthday,
Lana made a cake, so we're trying to not let Nardi see the cake, but we'll be celebrating her birthday today and tomorrow. She's the foundation and the backbone of what we're doing. She's very much surrendered, and she works full time, and she's cooking and helping organize all these programs, and it's really intense sometimes, but thank you so much. We'll be celebrating her birthday. Maybe we can all say Hare Krishna really loud. 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. We'll conclude here. We'll have lunch for everybody. So we need help. What do we need help
I
with?
need 3 people.
3. 1,
Okay.
2, 3. We need help serving.